نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected listeners, last week we had started talking about the second most important of the teachings of the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is in fact one of the purposes of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam being sent. The first purpose was to bring people to the recognition of one ilah, to Tawheed. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in his hadith, and so many hadiths, but the most famous one perhaps, Bunya al-Islam ala khams, that Islam, the whole deen that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought, is structured on 5 pillars. And right after Tawheed, which the ulama explain, the scholars of deen explain, is the central pillar, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned Salah, Iqamat Salah. Iqamat Salah basically means that not only prayer or Salah is performed, but also it is performed with full devotion and taking care of all the prerequisites of Salah. All the affiliates of Salah are maintained. And it also means that Salah, after having been performed, is preserved by not indulging in things that would take away the reward of Salah. Last week we had said that through his own life, the Prophet ﷺ established multiple examples where the Prophet ﷺ would not give up Salah even in the hardest, in the most difficult of times. One of those examples is when the Prophet ﷺ was on his deathbed, when he was about to pass away and he was not even able to walk, but he would rest against the shoulders of Sahaba and come almost dragging to the masjid and pray Salah. So much so that at one point it so happened that the Prophet ﷺ was leading Salah and he could not continue doing it. He was in such a weak state. And at that time he had to pull forth Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu to complete the prayer. As the ummati of the Prophet ﷺ, when we look at these things, we should think that are we, when we make tall claims of loving the Prophet ﷺ, when we are so sure that we are the followers and from among the nation of the Prophet ﷺ, are we proving ourselves deserving to gain the mercy of the Prophet ﷺ on the Day of Judgment? Because it has been said multiple times that our creation is such that the blessings of the Prophet ﷺ, we needed them even before our birth. We were dependent. Then we are very existentially, we are existing because of the virtue of being the ummati of the Prophet ﷺ. Otherwise, our sins are such that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have destroyed us. And in our future, on the Day of Judgment, our entry into Jannah depends, our success on that day depends entirely upon the intercession of the Prophet ﷺ. As comes in hadith, even on the Day of Judgment, which is itself so what will happen after the decision is made for anybody to go into Jannah or Jahannam is something that will come later. But even the day itself is a huge challenge. It will be a very heavy, burdensome day. So much so that people will come to the breaking point where they will say that we don't even care anymore if we go into Jannah or Jahannam. We want the hisab to begin. We want the judgment to begin, the process to begin. And it's a long narration. People will go to multiple Anbiya, and each of them will say that they are not fit to do this job, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to at least begin this process of judgment. And then they will come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first intercession that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on that day he will make, and it will be general for everybody. It will be his mercy not only on the Muslims but also on the kuffar, on the non-believers, on the people who are headed to hellfire, that he would request Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to start the process of judgment. So this is our dependence on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But my dear respected brothers, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his life has made it very clear in multiple ahadith that his love, that his intercession will not be gained only merely by through praising him or through holding him in our highest tall claims of love. The intercession is guaranteed upon following the commands of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mercy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be granted to those who take care to follow the sunnah, the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this life. This very Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we look at his life, the most important thing, the most important action is Salah. Even at battlefield, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not give up Salah. Even at battlefield, when people are fighting, they would form groups. One group would continue to fight. When their lives are on the line, one group will continue to fight, the other group will perform Salah. The other group will come in, they'll switch places, the other group will perform Salah, and the first group that was fighting at that time will go and perform Salah. So my dear respected brothers, we should think that where do we stand in comparison to the standard? When, if these are our claims, either our family is holding us back because we have family commitments. If you look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, she has told us an account of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She says that we did not see anyone as friendly as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We did not see anyone as caring as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a friend to us. He would share our problems. He would work at his home. He would assist us. He would help us in our domestic chores. But then when the time of Salah would come, it would be as if he never knew us. It would be as if he never knew us, and he would leave for Salah. And when he'd come back from Salah, he'd enter the home smiling. So my dear respected brothers, all the excuses that we find within ourselves, I am sick, I have family commitments, I have to go here, I have to go there, all of those things, we have the answers to that in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ has said that a person who angers the world in pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person who angers the world in pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself becomes pleased with them, but also pleases the world with them. The people that they are making angry or displeasing by their obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them happy with them too. On the other side, those people who please the world and displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those anger Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in trying to avoid the anger of or displeasure of the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes angry with them, but also they never find the pleasure of the people that they were trying to please. They never are able to please them. Even if you get their pleasure for a bit, it is very short-lived. It is the rule of the Quran. Man a'rada an dhikri, who turns their face away from my remembrance. And remembrance includes, first and foremost, the ibadat that have been made obligatory upon us. First and foremost. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said what? Will constrict their lives upon them. Will, whatever they do, their ma'isha, their economy, their financial side of things, their social life, everything will become constricted upon them. If you think about it, who is in control? Who is in charge? At every single point, if you look at our lives, we only have control to a certain extent. And beyond that starts the unknown. Beyond that starts chance. But who is the one controlling everything? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we ever think of gaining peace and abundance in our lives by displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The one who is controlling our lives and the lives of the people on whom we are dependent, on whom we are connected. So my dear respected brothers, the example of the Prophet ﷺ, the example of the Sahaba, the example of the pious people of the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, these are a few things upon which there simply is no compromise. There simply is no compromise. And it has been noted by experience that the people who frequent the masajid, who come to the masajid at least for 5 times daily prayer, even when you come to the masjid, if you have to do the bare minimum, it takes 5 to 7 minutes. Come, pray, go. You don't even have to stay for the dua after salah. If you want to, that's great. If not, you don't even have to sit back and make dua. If you are in that kind of a hurry, at least come for praying the bare minimum. If you do that, it only takes 5 to 7 minutes. My dear respected brothers, if in our lives, in our day of 24 hours, we cannot even find that kind of time, not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but for ourselves, for our world and the hereafter, we can well imagine where we are headed. We can well imagine where we are going. The life here will never become peaceful, and there is no chance for us in the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard us from all negligence, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our eyes so we are able to see reality. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Brothers, have prayed the sunnah into sunnah.